Greetings, greetings, Saroth Mage. Recording solo stream. Just finished my interview with the great Taiesin McKnight and the wonderful Theophilos Peleus. Fantastic interview, 4 hours long. I could have talked for another 4. I'm just going to stick my own chants on. Excuse me. Don't expect me to be organised. I'm still in a high state of excitement after that. That was great. Four people in. Hello, hello. It's been a while since I've done a solo stream. I was kind of losing confidence a little bit, you know. When you're used to having other people carrying the conversation, it's kind of difficult to come up with enough ideas. But I think I'll just kind of hi, Occult Journey. Welcome. I don't think you've ever been before, so welcome. It's always nice to have a new person in chat, and I've got a thumbs up already. Hey, as you can see, I'm wearing my I got this in an antiques fair in a place called what's it called again? Deskford, a tiny little odd place in. Thank you, Cosmo Crater. Yeah, honestly, I did. The last solo stream I did, I just kind of, oh, David, glad you could make it. It's weird. I'm used to hearing my own voice in my earphones. It sounds like I'm speaking to no one at all. Hey, Brandon, glad you could make it. I kept a little secret in the fridge. I thought I'll either need it to drown my sorrows after making a terrible mess of the interview, or I'll have it to celebrate. So this is definitely a celebration because it went fantastically well. If you didn't know, I've just done a 4-hour interview with the great Taiesin McKnight and the fantastic Theophilos Peleus. We were discussing Renaissance magic, and I think it went really well. I think we did about 2 hours on Renaissance magic and about 2 hours just shooting the breeze, talking and laughing. So we're going to have to edit it down somewhat considerably, I think. So new setup. I just feel like over there with all the candles and the flashing lights, it's just too much. And after recent, shall we say, visionary experiences, I just felt like a lot of it was coming from, like, I don't know, ego. I got a very strong message at that Sawain experience that it was strange. The whole thing that, you know, the whole thing that sparked the channel was the summer solstice experience I had on the Greater Sacrament. But then the Halloween experience kind of took it full circle, and I felt like I was pretty much reduced to rubble after that one. But sounds exciting. 4-part documentary, well, 4-hour conversation it was. I don't know if it'll quite turn out to be a 4-hour. I think we could probably lose at least an hour of us laughing and joking like old pals. But it's really wonderful that someone like Taiesin McKnight, with 34,000 subscribers, through my dear friend Theophilos, came to my channel. And I think the only other program they've done on Renaissance magic was with Dana Trell, the Modern Hermeticist, which is another huge channel. So I'm extremely grateful that anybody even thought to do Little Saroth the Mage. Like I say, I don't care about numbers. I am not here for the numbers. I am here to meet you guys and to kind of share in this weird group journey that we seem to all be on. It's magic, it's philosophy, it's where it's at. So the conversation we had was very, very interesting. Renaissance magic, or you could say classical magic, is a return to what I think it's a reaction against is the postmodern chaos magic, anything goes kind of attitude. I'm sure I read chaos magic books where it said that you could use like comic superheroes as like god forms, and it just got a little bit silly. So I think this move towards more formal, scholarly Renaissance magic is absolutely valid, and that's the path I will be taking. I'll still be doing my Golden Dawn work, but I'm going to take my dear friend Theophilos's advice and use simple things like prayer. Who'd have thought that someone who thought he was anti-Christian would now be considering prayer as a part of daily praxis? And it fits in quite well with the Golden Dawn, because I'm already using a Judeo-Christian model. So let the good times roll. So how is everyone? Talk to me, chat, because I just jumped on with really nothing prepared. I did have like 16 pages of notes. I've been like 2 days studying for that, but of course I knew that Theophilos and Taiesin would just carry the whole show, which they did. But I've got, oh gosh, and yeah, I had a disaster. Last night at like the 11th hour, I was on my little notebook with my lovely Yeti mic and my good webcam, and the whole thing just crashed. Who would I be praying to? God. That's the only person that is worthy of my prayers, and maybe even Jesus too, and Theophilos, and my angel, I believe it's my holy guardian angel. I got the name for him, she, it, a long time ago, but I don't think I should say the name. I don't think you're supposed to say the name of your holy guardian angel, if it is indeed my holy guardian angel, because it's been talking, but very softly. Hi, Lisa F. Luke. I never go anywhere without this crystal skull now, Lisa, so thank you very much. It's just the most beautiful gift. And the other beautiful gift in my life saw her Stardust. She keeps her by her bed. She's been having some very strange experiences lately. I'm sure she wouldn't mind me telling you. She's been doing a lot of Kundalini yoga lately, and she's had a few kind of near out-of-body experiences where she'll wake up and literally the whole bed is like vibrating. Before she met me, it's all very mystical how we met. Oh, hi Tamu, how's it going? Lovely to see you. You're so welcome. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. It kind of, you know, we don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Britain, because you escaped from us, you naughty colonists. So excuse me for drinking on air, but after a 4-hour interview with intense magical discussion, it's nice to be able to chill with my friends and a beer. This is my Thanksgiving beer, and I am giving thanks because I got through it. I honestly was so nervous, my stomach was in a knot for most of the day, because, you know, these guys know their stuff, and I'm just a humble theoricus, self-initiated. So I got loads of really fascinating information on how to proceed, really. It's not like I want to scrap the work that I've been doing and start again, but I really hit a very sticky patch in my practice after Halloween, where this has been a feature before. It's like resistance, absolute resistance to daily praxis. I could not, for about 3 or 4 days, I just could not force myself to do my rituals, my meditations, anything. I just had to, you know, a problem is time. I do work very hard. It's a full-time job. It's like over 50 hours a week sometimes. Travel on top of that. It's tough, but you've got to find ways around it, and I think I'm finding them. I got a very valuable, and do you like the setup better? I think it's more relaxed, you know, because when I was doing it in my magic circle with all that, I just felt it was like a bit of a circus, really. And I had that horrible moment of realization. I think it was like 2 Saturdays ago. I didn't have much of a show prepared as ever, but usually if I'm feeling confident, I can keep the ball in the air. But for some reason, I was really struggling a couple of Saturdays ago, and then CW Chanter came into chat, and another person, and and you know what? I was smoking a lot of weed at the time. So after that, I made the solemn promise that I would stop smoking weed. I mean, I've got nothing against it I think it can be good for people that don't smoke it. But for me, it was becoming habitual and it was becoming a total block. That day, I think it was, no, or was it a Sunday? In fact, no, it was a Saturday because I'd jumped on to a stream with Doc Illusion and I can't say Araranach, or maybe I just did. But I was on with them, so I was like rolling up and smoking from like 7 o'clock in the morning. So, oh, Robin, hi, how's it going? So by the time it got to like 10 o'clock, I was quite literally stoned out of my mind. So a big thing in my new praxis is purity of intention and purity of mind. Hi, Robin. Absolutely fantastic to have you here. I haven't paid YouTube Premium this month, so it's not being cooperative at all. There we go. Yeah, blame Doc. So yeah, I've given it up, and I've pretty much given up smoking tobacco as well. I've got my e-cig. Is that a bit loud? I've got my e-cig, and that is going to be it from now on. And the amount of money I was spending on that stuff, just to feel disconnected, and that light's annoying me slightly, excuse me. That's a bit better. So how are y'all? I watched a really good stream by your husband, Seven Serpents, last night. I see he got his live stream going for the first time in a long time. And funnily enough, what he was saying, I didn't catch it, but I saw Grey Wolf's comment, and it was something about giving birth to the solar self. And it's fascinating because that's a message that came through very strongly on that Sawain trip. Was, in fact, I wish I'd taken my notebook. It was giving birth to the solar self. If you think about it Kabbalistically, or in the Tree of Life, I'm in Yesod just now, which is the sphere of the moon. And if I go straight up, the next stop is Tifereth. Hi, Enjoy Being. How's it going, man? Although I am going to Mercury next, not literally, but in my Golden Dawn grade work. The next grade is Practicus. So I'm almost done with Theoricus now. I just need to tidy up a few loose ends, finish my body and Yetzirah exercises, and then I will be on to Practicus, which is a whole different, always you're just adding that little bit more reading, that little bit more ritual. It's already taken me about 45 minutes to an hour to do my daily praxis, so you can understand how it gets difficult to keep up sometimes. But I learned something very valuable from Taiesin tonight, and that is he only practices while the moon is waxing. So that's 2 weeks of every month that I could have off practice, and it would, because if you're doing something day in, day out, resistance does build. I think magical resistance is a very real thing. Some people say it's like the ego trying to resist its own destruction through these magical practices, and that kind of makes sense to me. So the idea of having 2 weeks off with no rituals, Another thing he told me was we should be making our tools when the moon is waxing. Another thing I'm going to start paying attention to is like planetary hours and a lot more planetary and astrological magic. What I meant to ask before the stream ended, but we were all quite tired by the end of it, was, you know, I simply don't have time to draw up, well, first of all, to learn how to draw up like natal charts and electional astrology. It's supposed to be in the Golden Dawn. I just don't have time, so I'm trying to find apps that will basically be shortcuts for me. Seven Serpents recommended a brilliant planetary hours one. I'll have to check that it does work. I mean, it's reasonably simple to check on your phone, see what time sunrise. Hey Nish, how's it going? I've been kind of busy, and as you know, I plastered it all over Twitter. My notebook tragically died last night. I had several, I thought I'd fixed it at one point, but nay. It's broken and dead, and I'm not even sure if I can remember the vendor. I bought it online, so I'm going to have to search through a receipt, check the warranty. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same one, is it, Logos? It's the one that's Seven Serpents. I think there's only one. I put it into Play Store. So if that's reliable, that's good. But I'm really looking for a good astrology app. I downloaded that Sky View one where you can like hold your camera up to the night sky, and it's supposed to show you the positions of the planets, which is really handy for, you know, working with. There's a lot of planetary magic in the Golden Dawn. I have been invoking Saturn and the Moon in this grade. I'll be going to Mercury and Jupiter on the next one. Stellarium, I'll have to check that out. It's Sky View I've got, but I've noticed that it doesn't match up at all with the planet. You know, I can point it at the moon, and it says the moon's way over there somewhere. And I've got a reliable moon phases app, which tells me which constellation the moon's in. And my Sky View app, although it's set for Aberdeen, Scotland, this location, it just doesn't seem right. So I was totally chuffed with it at first, but now I'm going to have to find another one. So it seems like a long time since I've done a solo stream. I've been wanting to do one for ages, but like I say, when you're used to having other people to bounce off in chat, I mean, I would have done a hangout tonight and invited anybody on that wanted to come on, but I can't do it on my phone. So this isn't going to be a long one. I'm just kind of working off the adrenaline from that fantastic 4-hour interview with Theophilos and Taiesin. Yeah, it was really, it took an unexpected turn. It started and we were all being quite polite and, you know, sticking to the brief: Renaissance magic, classical magic, Agrippa, the three worlds. And then we kind of veered off into just telling each other stories and laughing. And Taiesin, what an amazingly warm and friendly guy for someone who is, you know, kind of famous. I mean, I've been watching his videos for, well, since I came back to YouTube. He's been like my, and Theophilos, of course. These guys have been my teacher, and who would have thought that I would end up talking to them as almost equal? So that was great. It was absolutely fantastic. And there was so much we didn't get round to talking, so I hope we can hook up again and kind of go into some of the things that we were talking about. Fortitude. I think I have some fortitude. I've got attitude. So let's just have a look at the things we covered. So we looked into Renaissance cosmology, the chain of being, different types of entity in demonology, but we also discussed angels and elementals and intelligences. the power of prayer in the Renaissance, which is very important, because this is one of the main points that I don't think Theophilos will mind. Hey, Prospero, good to see you, man. Your book is never far away. In fact, my phone is balanced on it right now. It's on one of those wobbly stand things. So yeah, both Taiesin and Theophilos, and I have to say I'm very tempted myself, is Christian magic, you know? I think the problem that most modern magicians have with Christianity is the church, and not the figure of Jesus Christ himself, who could be described as one of the greatest magicians of all time. We looked into like the definitions of a magician and what is an operation, specifically grimoire magic. We talked about virtues, the world soul, which I think the picture that I've used, if I remember rightly, is a picture of this woman chained to the earth, not in a bad way. She is the world soul. Looked at the idea of, yeah, but I don't know, with me working Golden Dawn magic, which is pretty Judeo-Christian anyway, it opened my mind to a lot of things that I just wouldn't have considered. I mean, even Taiesin admitted that at one point he absolutely hated Christianity. And I think more so in America, you know, like I've said, Aberdeen, Scotland, and particularly my own upbringing, were very secular. Papa was an atheist, and Mum was a kind of naive Christian, so we never went to church. But still, you know, you grew up with this chip on your shoulder. Church is like authority figure, and you're forced to go to church at Christmas, and it all seems rather empty. And you know, the behaviour of all churches has been quite hypocritical through the years. You know, I don't agree with the Pope assuming the title of kind of Christ's representative on earth, but I don't want to get too into theological arguments right now. We also talked about the idea of, and it's not just Christianity, it's Islam, and you know, there's Taoist magic and Buddhist magic. So it's the idea of the macro religion and then your own personal micro spirituality. Because, like it or not, the energy comes from somewhere. We also discussed the planets, lots of planetary magic in classical and Renaissance magic, natural philosophy, intelligence, spirits, seals, which we didn't really get into, not seals, but like magical seals, which are kind of sigils, which are a bit like talismans, hold the energies of these spirits, which I'm absolutely convinced now are absolutely real, and especially after hearing some of the stories, car crashes, poltergeist activity, claw marks down people's backs after doing basically sloppy grimoire magic, and using this psychological, the psychological model only goes so far. It doesn't explain, you know, like I've said many times, I only thought it was safe to come back to magic when I'd pretty much convinced myself that it was all in me, and the worst thing I could encounter was my own shadow self. But I now believe there are far worse things out there than little old Saroth and his dark side. You know, this is another thing, and this is fascinating. I don't know if I should, I hope it's not breaking confidence, but Taiesin told me about a very extraordinary experience he had. I'm sure that's fine to say that. And the way he described it like being in the ocean and being battered by waves. And that's exactly how I feel often on these large dose psilocybin trips. There's actually a physical sensation that you're getting battered by what I'd have to now class as extra-dimensional forces. So what else did we look at? Tools. We talked about how like a sharpened sword will scare spirits into obedience. We talked about personal piety, and I know these are probably like trigger words. Piety, and it means like, it's going very against the original sort of Luciferian Saroth, who thought that, I mean, there is a strand in Western mysticism which says that we are, what we don't like about the church, I think, is being branded as original sin and all that kind of downer stuff. But in the mysticism of the Renaissance, there was a great movement that, man is God's most perfected animal. Because I do still believe that we are animals. We're human primates, like Zen Loren. Now, he's another interesting man that I would like to actually invite onto the show. A lot of his beliefs aren't chiming with mine, but they're only beliefs. They're only beliefs. I'm not certain of anything, and the more I learn and the more I study, the more I realise that I really know nothing, and all I have is experience. Somebody can tell you something in a book, but until you've experienced it and felt it, it really doesn't mean that much. So in the middle of my black spot, which has lasted till pretty much 2 or 3 days ago, when I really forced myself to pick up that dagger and wand and get back into the circle, I honestly was struggling to find motivation to do a single bit of magic. My energy was just so low. But of course, we're at a very northern latitude here in Aberdeen. I think we're at the same, we're as far north as Moscow, basically, just a bit further west. So it gets dark at like 3:30 in the afternoon, and the sun doesn't rise till about 9 o'clock at night. So, it's cold, it's dark. And another dear friend, Sam Shadowzone, told me that a lot of magicians will just take the whole winter off. Because if you compare the way I felt in the summer, when everything was like boom, and I was just feeling so alive and invigorated and everything was fun, now it's cold and dark and it's like, huddle up. That's why I'm so grateful that this year I have my beautiful, destined soulmate, Solar Stardust. I have told you the story about Solar Stardust, haven't I? SAD, yes, seasonal affective disorder. I think that's very real, because my energy has just, we had a terrific heat wave in the summer, and every day I just felt like, whoa, it was fantastic. I would come home from work, still have bags of energy. Now I'm like, falling asleep on the bus, coming home, jumping into bed as soon as I get back, because it's warm even with all the heaters on. Scotland is a cold, inhospitable place sometimes. But Solar Stardust has been a great source of inspiration to me. And we met in the most curious circumstances. She'd been doing her own, she's got a very interesting story herself. She was raised in South Africa, in Cape Town. Her dad ran a gold mine there, and when the ANC got into power, all the white people had to basically leave, because, and I don't blame the native South Africans, the black South Africans. They kind of got the machetes out, and a few of their neighbours got chopped up, so they had to leave in a hurry. So, but while she was in South Africa, she'd got involved with the Hare Krishna movement. So she's a very, very spiritual person. She does a lot of Kundalini yoga. But the thing is, she's got 2 children. I've got a very full-on job, so we can only see each other like 2 days a week, one night. But we are planning to do some real magic together very soon. So the story of meeting her was, I'd absolutely given up ever meeting anyone. I thought it just wasn't going to happen. I thought I was too old, too ugly, and I'd tried the dating sites, and I'd had some disastrous Tinder dates. And then one day, I'm hardly ever on Facebook, but I got a Facebook request from this very attractive red-haired woman with rather attractive tattoos. And at first it was the friend request, and then the next day I got a personal private message saying, was I dancing with you in Drummond's like 2 weeks ago? And this is just kind of, I think it was after the solstice. Everything burst into life after the solstice. That's when this channel started. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say I got a direct command from whoever it is that talks to you when you're pretty much out your body on those things, that I was going to be Saroth the Mage. I already had that name, but I was going to use that name. I was going to start a YouTube channel, and that's about all they told me. And of course, the last one I got a telling off for being an ego monkey. Yeah. Hi, Alex. Excellent to see you. I love that song that you posted on YouTube lately. If you're not already, the one thing I will say, iWalk, is your channel's quite hard to find. When you type it in, you get a whole lot of bump before you come to you. But you're a musician, a brilliant musician, and you're going to have to come round and do another music stream, I think, and I'm sure everyone would agree, because you're a genius. And it's just so wonderful, you know. Before I'd even started live streaming, I made a video called Find the Others, when I was saying I wanted to meet artists, I wanted to meet poets, I wanted to meet magicians, and it's all came absolutely wonderfully true, beyond my wildest expectations, to be honest. So yeah, the story. So she asked me if she'd been dancing with me in a famous Aberdeen venue, Cafe Drummond's. I played there with my band 13. Funnily enough, I noticed you use 13 in your email address, Nish. And I hadn't been dancing with her. It had been some other guy, but apparently he looked absolutely the double of me. So we struck up a friendship. We met that Saturday night, and we've never looked back. And you know, you'll notice that I've in my email address I've got 222. 222 was a number that came through way back. Hey Max, remote view this. Very nice to have you in live chat. Wow, I've got 18 people. That's fantastic. So the first time me and Sora Stardust, we had a little trip to Inverness. We were thinking about going to Boleskine to check out, you know, Alistair Crowley's old pad where he did the Abramelin. It was 2, and it's all burnt down anyway. But what hotel room number did we get? 222. Unbelievable. And there's just so many synchronicities. She had the feeling that this guy that she'd met, who wasn't me, or it might have been me, it might have been my astral body projecting onto the floor in Drummond's, because it would probably want to go there. She basically asked the universe if she should pursue this guy in the pink shirt. And she said, show me like a star in the next, you know, whatever hours. She set a time limit. And she didn't just see one star. She saw star, 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 star. And the night that we met, a band were playing in Drummond's, and that's how we met, because I know the guy in the band. So I was going to this thing. So I'd, you know how there's events on YouTube and you click interested. So she'd somehow seen my photograph and thought, that's the guy. And what were the band called? What were the band called? Star. So work that one out. So, I mean, how do the gods work? They work through weirdness like that. So what else did we look into? Yeah, personal piety, Agrippa's 3 worlds, astrological talismans and spirits, and then the stages of mysticism, which I thought were yeah, it is a lovely story, and it continues to be a lovely story, because now I've met her children. I'm spending Christmas Day there, and it's just like, honestly, it's like, you know, when you meet someone and it's like there's no awkwardness, you just get on right away, and it feels like you've known each other for ages. Synchronicities for the win. Absolutely, my dear Nish. And I will get the rest of that film done for you. It's just, I've been with my computer breaking down last night. That was like a nervous breakdown right there. And then with, look at all the notes that I took for this interview, and I have to say, because Taiesin and that's not all the notes, starts there, goes on to there. I tried to do like a philosophical timeline, which luckily I didn't have to go into at all. Then we've got these notes on Renaissance magic, Renaissance cosmology with Copernicus, Nicola of Cusa, how Copernicus kind of overturned the idea of Aristotle's unchanging universe. And even Sir Walter Raleigh, who most people know as, you know, the guy in the frilly collar who laid down his cloak for Elizabeth, he was actually a bit of a mage himself. And he had asked the question in one of his books, it was actually called History of the World, published in 1616. He asked, how did the ancients know that Venus has different, you know, the brightness of Venus changes a lot. And if it was a fixed, immobile, never-changing universe, then why did Venus change? And how did the ancients know this? And I don't even know how the ancients know that. And he also noticed that Mars would appear to go backwards sometimes, which we now know is retrograde. And then we've got Newton, and then ideas about the world soul, Marcel Ficino, I think it is. He thought that the world soul gave birth to the four elements. And that the idea of stellar fire, that's a wonderful idea, you know, star fire. And then mysticism, which, you know, honestly, we've been speaking for like 3 hours at that point. Why does this music keep stopping? So in mysticism, you know, I think I honestly had the wrong idea about a lot of, let's just say, I'm not going to knock any religions, I'm not going to knock any spiritualities. I am now open to everything because everything has been open to me. It's interesting, but there was a lot of very important women mystics in this Renaissance period. You know, they did tend to live an ascetic life. There is truth, absolutely, Tamu, there is absolutely truth in every system. And as soon as you think you've got all the answers, well, you're just putting a limit on it. I think Seven Serpents put it very well. He said that these guys that come out and say, right, this is how it is. It's them over there, or it's them over there, and it's not us. You know, that's the limit of his gnosis. Yes, strange fire. Even star fire, strange fire. For some reason, it's making me think of, is there a Starfire Publishing, perhaps? Someone's making me think of John Dee. Mystikos is a Greek word, and it means the path to the knowledge of God. It was influenced by Neoplatonism. I'm not going to get too highbrow. I was really aiming high here. I've got Pseudo Dionysus, Corpus, Are, Pagigentakam, Meister Eckhart, the separation of God and Godhead. Yeah, you just need the parts, but you need to kind of know how the parts go together. Because if your car breaks down and you don't know how the parts go together, you're not going to be able to fix it. Gosh, I've got so much in here. Martin Luther was even influenced by Christian mysticism, and you wouldn't think, you know, I always think of Protestantism as almost trying to do away with the supernatural and strip it all back to this very bare, puritanical way, where the Orthodox Church and Catholic Church are still very magical in their own ways. There was an idea of sola fide, faith alone, and then there was imitation of Christ. I can't pronounce Latin very well. Fire in my mind, starfire in our hearts. Yep. There's a starfire in my heart right now. It is pretty dry. And up here in the north of Scotland, we have the driest of the dry Protestant sects called the Free Church of Scotland. And we've got all kinds of brethren as well, somewhat like Crowley's upbringing, a very devout kind of, we are the only ones that are going to be saved. And there's the apocalyptic, it's all just so fascinating. And it's like, I'm opening the book on all this stuff, which before I just wasn't willing to look into. I was like, no, that's brainwashing, it's Christianity, it's blah, blah, blah. But through praxis and through conversation with dear friends, I've just, my mind's been opened, and I won't shut it. I think a lot of people think that magic is some kind of rebellion against God. I was into my sort of Luciferian Thelema idea of, there is no God, or if there is a God, he's gone, like the Nietzschean idea of God is dead. But I'm not so sure God is dead. Well, I have to say, if I had to go to any Christian church, it would probably be the Orthodox Christian church. But there's a Catholic church right across the road. And what is wrong with opening your mind to other spiritual modalities? And if it doesn't work, if it doesn't ring true in my heart, then I can always go back. I haven't lost anything. Arorana says, reminds me of the Dan Winter stuff again. Yeah, he was absolutely fascinating, especially his stuff on John Dee and Shakespeare. And also Taiesin said a very interesting thing. I hope he doesn't mind me talking about what he said, but he said, I think it was in a dream or a vision, that an angel had shown him a 4-dimensional shape. And he couldn't, because how can you see a 4th dimensional thing from 3 dimensions? But that was also a big thing in this Dan Winter stuff. The pentagram is actually a 3-dimensional representation of a 4-dimensional, I don't know mathematics or geometry, but it's like if you could see a 4th dimensional, whatever the shape is, in 3 dimensionals, it would be the pentagram. And hexagrams are also important as well. So Dan Winter is very worth checking out. Although I have to say, Aroranach, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the one that you put up today about the heart, it was also very fascinating. But the guy's kind of brilliant, very hard to understand. You've had some amazing time in NOLA. NOLA, I'm not sure what that stands for. Baptist churches. Is that where everybody sings and dances? And this thing, the Holy Spirit or the Holy Ghost, I used to think, oh God, they're just like hysterical and they're putting it on or they're faking it. But who says you can't be intoxicated by the Holy Spirit? I mean, I don't, I think, and Theophilos pointed this out. He said, the huge neo-pagan and just let's say neo-pagan, and I was one, I was well into the Egyptian pantheon, but I wouldn't go near anything Christian. But not maybe so much Thoth and Isis, but Zeus and all those. You're kidding. Tammuz's son is called Theophilos. Wow. That is quite a coincidence. Yeah, it's like the joy that we feel, it's Dionysian, but who says it can't be taken in a Christian context? So my mind has been blown open with a very deep and beautiful chat I had with Theophilos, who is now one of my dearest and closest friends. And then again tonight, because Taiesin McKnight has been pretty much practicing magic since he was like 9 or something. If you watch his videos where he gives a bit of his own story, it's quite, it's funny in a way, because he was just obsessed with God, and he obviously was brought up Protestant, but I think he successfully converted his family to Catholicism, Pathologism. Can this be working already? And he's been through the entire, you know, he's been practicing since he's 33 now. So he's been practicing hard for like 20 years. And someone that's been through all the modalities, he's done Wicca, he's done neo-paganism, and for him to now arrive at this instinct that classical magic, you know, going back to basics in a way of planetary magic and just good old-fashioned grimoire magic, you know, that stuff will never go. It'll always be there. You know, the magic of the Solomonic grimoires, you could say, and with the resurgence and scholarly study of these grimoires, with people like Stephen Skinner, Joseph H. Peterson, Theophilos, Taiesin, it's like, to me, it's a reaction against the sillier aspects of postmodernism. That's what my stream last week was supposed to be about, because there's an art movement called remodernism, and I didn't actually realize at the time. I thought it was just a return to more traditional values of like drawing and painting, you know, not going over what's been before, but just going back to away from conceptual art, away from the silly sort of, you know, stuff that no one can relate to, basically. Gosh, my stomach's rumbling. I think I've forgotten to eat today. Gosh, I've been going for 47 minutes already. This is great. I'm high as a kite. But not high through the usual way that I get high, you know? And when you've been smoking weed as heavily as I have been for the past 2 or 3 years, you know, when I got this job, I could afford more, so I smoked more. And it was getting through so, hey, Seven Serpents, I was just talking about your brilliant video you did the other night. And it's good to see you getting a live stream going. My poor notebook packed up last night. At first I was getting things, just all kinds of messages, and then I got the blue screen of death. Hey, Modwiz, welcome. So, where was I? Yeah, I was talking about mysticism. And then we went on to talking about talismans and how important, you know, like, if it says use a certain metal, use that metal, you know. Making do isn't good enough. We've got to put the work in, and these, you know, I don't know how it works, this idea of sympathetic magic, which also, you know, you've got a big thing about animism at the moment, Aroranach, and the Renaissance worldview sees all things in creation as partly divine, you know. Crystals have divine energy, trees, plants, everything is holy, as Patti Smith once said. Consecration is a very important concept, and you know, when I was doing Isis magic, we did purifications and consecrations. We would use this stuff we made ourselves called Nile water, which has pure river water and like a few secret herbs and ingredients. And we're also going to be starting to make magical oils. My magical the person I run the Facebook group with, THOTH, has started making these beautiful oils with sandalwood, and we can tailor them to fit each working. So, you know, you just buy your ingredients, and then for each working we can make up new oils, and it's opened a whole new door for me, because I was feeling like the Golden Dawn magic wasn't quite enough. It was like there was an element missing somehow, and perhaps I've found that element. Then I'm not even sure I really wanted to talk about scrying, because I think that's a most fascinating practice. And did you know that the mirror that John Dee used for his angelic communications was actually an Aztec mirror that had been brought back by, I have to say, he wasn't a nice man, Cortez. So these had been Aztec priests' mirrors, I presume, black obsidian mirrors. It's still in the British Museum. So I didn't know that he'd got one of Cortez's mirrors. And, you know, I can't help thinking if there's a link somehow between Dee and the discovery of the New World. And there's that theory about the macrobes, which I don't really subscribe to, because it posits that the macrobes were like evil and trying to bring on the apocalypse. But apocalypse, yeah, even in what we would call dead matter, there is life. You know, I mean, if you look at something under a microscope, it's not dead, is it? It's fizzing with life. But the John Dee thing really fascinated me, that he'd brought the mirror, that he did all that amazing years and years of work in the Heptameron, and all that started with a mirror from Cortez, who basically ruined the Aztec world. And something I meant to ask as well was, you know, there seems to be legions of spirits. There's grimoiric spirits, there's the god forms, there's like the Greek pantheon, all these pantheons. Are these spirits the same spirits that are popping up in different cultures under different names? Or are there culture-specific spirits and energies? You know? Very fascinating. And then, of course, at Halloween I got the major thing, which had never really occurred to me before, about these forgotten old ones, the ancient ones, because it was a wild night at Halloween. Literally and metaphorically. The wind was howling, it was dark, it was cold. I was in the temple room with this very big, kind of spooky, I have to say, isolated cottage where the river meets the sea, and it's always in these liminal spaces where the magic happens. And I'd taken a huge dose of mushrooms, and I'm never prepared for what happens. Oh yeah, I meant to go back to Taiesin's vision. He saw basically like the vision of Enoch, a wheel within a wheel. And this is another thing that Dan Winter talks about, the Ophanim, these angels. He describes them as having eyes all over the place. That's what Taiesin saw. And the way he described the physicality of an encounter with one of these beings makes me think that that's what I was encountering and do encounter when I take these very large doses of psilocybin. Got my Budweiser. Yeah, Nostradamus also used a scrying mirror. And I was thinking, Snow White, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful of them all? That's a scrying mirror. His YouTube page, you mean? He's got a Facebook page, but it's just like it's one that you like. But are you telling me you haven't watched Taiesin McKnight's YouTube videos? My God, he's been going since like 2007 or something. There are literally hundreds. And him and Theophilos are the most knowledgeable people I've ever met on the occult. And if somebody had told me a year ago that I'd be mixing not just with people like Nish and Aroranach and Iwok and David Lux and all the guys that have been fantastic to me, I'd be talking to someone with like Taiesin McKnight with 34,000 subscribers. Who'd have believed it? So where did we go after that? Yeah, I did one thing that seems odd now, but I mean, you know, this was a long time ago, was the use of children to scry. You know, the magician would do the conjurations, and then he would get some poor kid to do the scrying for him. And I read somewhere that until I think it's puberty, a child's crown chakra is absolutely wide open, so they are more sensitive to like spirits and communication. But I would say it would be pretty unethical to use a child in a magical operation now. Let's just get that clear. Another big idea was, you've got to have harmony. If you're doing a ritual, everything has to fit. You can't just cobble stuff together and hope it'll work. You have to do the right day of the week, the right planetary hour. You have to use the correct incenses and perfumes. You have to wear the correct gems. You have to wear the proper colours. And it's absolutely a technology. I've got no idea how it works. And the pre-spirit model Saroth would have said, oh yeah, that's just because it'll make it more effective psychologically. And I was discussing how in the introduction to, I think it's the I can't even say it, Lemegeton, Crowley himself, who was on the fence about the spirit model. Sometimes he would say it's all psychological, like in that introduction, him and Mathers seemed to be kind of poo-pooing the idea that spirits were actually real, and he said the goetic spirits were parts of the human brain, which now I'm not so sure. I actually think that spirits are real. But this has been a real struggle for me because it's difficult. I'm almost 50 years old and I was pretty set in my ways, and I thought, finally, I've got it sussed out. It's all psychological. I don't have to be afraid. And the golden magic thing is just a self-transformation through self-analysis and all that. And then I find out, no, these spirits are real. I'm coming up for the hour, but, I might just go for a little while yet because I haven't really engaged with chat. But I was getting so desperate for results, and I think it is something to do with the winter. And I didn't know that magic was not as powerful when the moon is waning. It makes sense now because everything has to filter through the moon. It is an amazing group of people, absolutely. And we've got musicians, we've got artists, we've got magicians. We can make beautiful music together, and we can make beautiful live streams together. I did 2 live streams last Sunday. I was on Sunday Night Chill with Araranich, who I thought was amazing. I've never really spent much time with Araranich. Obviously, I've known him in chats. We used to know him as Davey, ETP. But I was just so impressed with his candour and his knowledge, and Doc Illusion was fantastic. Seven Serpents came on for a while, and then, lo and behold, I get an invitation from CW Chanter to join his secret space program, No Hand Path, exactly. No Hand Path, baby. I love to show my runes. So that turned into a real adventure, didn't it, Davey? We were both on CW Chanter's channel, and we had a real good laugh. Although the bit about the really hard bit that you had to think, that 3 bits, I decided to take a toilet break, came back, and he was like, right, Sarath, go. I was like, could you repeat the question, please? And I kind of messed that bit up. But the good thing, I thought Araranich was actually the star of that show. So I hope, are you doing a Sunday Night Chill tomorrow, Araranich? Because I'm off work and I'd be more than willing to join, although I've only got my phone. That was a disaster, my laptop breaking down last night. I can't believe it. It was hard. It was a 3-part question, and it was good advice, It was like never, because that's exactly what I did last Sunday night. I felt like I was losing the thread, and instead of just, I'm sure it happens to all the best podcasters, but instead of just kind of going on to something else or distracting myself, I suddenly started going, oh no, oh no, oh, and announcing to the whole world that I felt like I was messing up. And then I just felt, and I think this is the cannabis thing as well, I just felt for a moment like I was suddenly naked in the middle of Union Street, and all these people were in chat, and they'd see, they melt, and I just had to, you know, kind of go, and I felt it really dented my confidence. So I'm glad tonight happened, and I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad Saroth's back. So I'm not going to stay for too much longer because it is getting late and I've got work at 8 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, we went on to a little bit of evocation and scrying, and then back to grimoires. You know, the two main forms of grimoire, beer, spirit summoning, and talismans. But actually, thank you, Ararana. It's good to see you in chat. You're actually summoning spirits into that talisman for specific purposes, and I'm going to have to try it. I'm going to try it all, man. And it doesn't have to be hard, you know. It is complicated, but I don't know, I just think where there's a will, there's a way, and I will find the time. So, another interesting concept was the sun as a doorway, almost like a stargate. And astrotheology obviously links the sun with Jesus Christ, but it's also where cosmic energies pour through, I think. So the sun is literally a stargate. Stargate. Yeah. Oh gosh, it's very complicated, Dan Winter stuff. I really enjoy the John Dee stuff, but he does a lot of stuff on sacred geometry and the heart fire and all that. But to be honest, I was really more interested in his John Dee stuff. Well, time and money. I mean, the amount of work, you'd think I'd have plenty of money, but I'm virtually penniless until payday. And then how am I going to replace the laptop or the notebook? I mean, it only cost 175 quid, and it actually was a 64-bit laptop, but I plugged in my old Acer, and my Yeti does work on that. So I'd been told that it only worked on a 64-bit laptop. Not true, but it's just so old. The webcam wasn't working, so I just decided to use my phone, and I think it worked fine. I mean, tonight isn't too bad, is it? I don't think it'd be any worse really than. The mic is good, but you know, I'll get another one. I'll get another laptop, and I think that's a great idea that Ararana had about using Patreon to support people, because for ages Seven Serpents does some. Wow, really? Wow, Dan Winter, yeah. He's certainly a very, very intelligent, switched-on person. But I must admit, some of it does go over my head a little bit. Have people seen the video of the solar system as a globe? Yeah, I think I have. So there was also the thing about, you have to balance the malefic. Yes, the GoFundMe, yes. That's what I was talking about. It's like people like, hard-working guys like me and Seven Serpents who are going to run out of, this person needs a laptop, this person needs a mic. I would happily give some of my wages into that common fund, so that if somebody really needed to get a new phone or to carry on doing the good work, that we could go into that communal fund, and I'd be absolutely happy to put in not a great deal, but like 5-10 quid a month. And if we all did it, and if I presume we can all trust each other, somebody we could have maybe rotating sort of treasurers and make a club, like a YouTube club. Yeah, well, as I understand the solar system, it's all like our solar system is spinning through the universe in a very compared to the old static model of, they used to think that the Earth was in the middle and all the planets revolve around that in a totally circular fixed way. I mean, it seems very naive now, but I mean, we see ourselves as the center of the universe, don't we? I think most people do. You know, it's very hard to get out of your own head and see things even from another person's point of view. And then there's the idea of subfumigation, which is burning clouds and clouds of incense, sometimes with narcotic ingredients. I'm sure one of them said that you use like 3 pounds of cannabis resin. I mean, no wonder you're going to have visions if you're subfumigating that kind of stuff. But I couldn't help thinking that's a hell of a waste. If you just put a little bit in a pipe, you'd get just the same effect. Nah, I mean. And then I've written self-overcoming. Yeah, self-overcoming. That's something that I've really had to do at the moment because, like I say, the ritual work had got so tedious and difficult. And, you know, the Golden Dawn is not a high payback system. It's long and arduous, and you don't get the rewards right away. You know, if I was doing grimoire magic where I was summoning a spirit and a spirit suddenly appears, you know, that's exciting and it would spur you on to do more. But the Golden Dawn process is so slow. It's very effective. I mean, I won't say I haven't got anything out of it, but it's just, I feel like it's lacking something, especially in the dead of winter when energies are low anyway. So I had the fantastic idea to invoke Paimon, who, that's his seal there. Yeah, well, candle magic is actually one of the most effective ways of summoning these goetic spirits. So Paimon is one of the main men. He is a king, and I hesitate to say king of hell because I'm not quite sure I believe in hell. But can there be a heaven without a hell? I'm not sure. But yeah, so this night I was feeling magically at a low ebb. The Halloween trip had been bruising but illuminating, and then I'd had that terrible stream where I just felt all the confidence and all the energy literally drain out of my body. So I thought I need some help. But Saroth doesn't turn to an angel. Oh no, he decides to go for like a demon. But Paimon, as demons go, is one of the friendlier ones. So I spent last week anyway. So I drew the seal, and there's a thing called an enchant, which is a mantra designed to summon this particular entity. So I'd been listening to that, I'd been watching YouTube videos, I'd been taking notes. So basically I devoted the whole night to this entity called Paimon. And I'd looked up the planetary hours. He's a mercurial spirit, so that would be a Wednesday. I'd worked out by the planetary hours that 10:23 candles, absolutely. And I think wax has a certain magical quality all on its own. Anyway, like I am going to be making beeswax tablets, I guess you would call. It's the ones that Dee used. So yeah, so I drew this sigil and I was going to sleep with it under my pillow, but in the end I got too tired, so I just stuck it in my diary, went to sleep. Now this is another thing that me and Solar Stardust and a lot of people have in common. We always wake up at about 4 o'clock in the morning, but this time 4 o'clock in the morning I woke up with this incredible physical sensation of, it felt like I was plugged into the electrical socket. I was like totally electrified, and I opened my eyes, you know, wondering what the hell was going on, and I was still vibrating with this, and I couldn't help but think that that was some kind of manifestation of Paimon. See, as soon as I read chat, I start to get lost. So, oh, don't worry about it, Modwiz. So, that's me. Very exciting evening talking to my dear friend Theophilos and my new friend, I hope, Taiesin McKnight, who actually told me, I even got to talk to his mum briefly. I said hello from Scotland. I have spoken to Taiesin, McKnight's mum. Can you believe that? A fire is lit. It is, and I feel like a fire has been lit in my heart. And Theophilos will know what I'm talking about there. Last night, man, you know what I mean? So I think I'll pretty much end it there. I'm going to be working with the Sham Angels. Hey, BB! I was just getting ready to go. But why don't I have just like 10 minutes of Ask Saroth Anything? Now that I am a YouTube superstar and I'll have about 1 million subscribers after the news gets out that I've got the scoop of the century. I think, are you still here, Theophilos? Is it just me and Dana Trell's channel you've done? Like the modern hermeticist? That guy who's got like about 1 billion subscribers, and you guys who have got like thousands of subscribers, and me who doesn't even have 2,000 subscribers. So how did I get that scoop? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Who has Nish? Taiesin? Has he? 32. Well, you know, I was actually even thinking about changing the name of my channel. Well, you've got over 1,000 there, Logos, so it's not that small. But I did think after CWs I might get like 1 or 2, but I must have been so terrible. Mind you, I think that everybody who watches CW is subscribed to me anyway. But it's not about numbers, you know, like I say. I mean, I won't deny that it is pleasing to see when you do a video that you get loads of hits and, you know, chats buzzing. I mean, can you imagine if you did a live stream and just nobody came at all? You're just talking to yourself and then you just kind of have to slope off. That's exactly what I thought would happen. So to have like Nish, Brandon, David Lux, although I think he's gone. You know, guys like you are what makes me keep doing this. Yeah, you should go on again, Logos. I mean, it's about your heart and mind infusing. Excellent talk. Well, if I'm an inspiration, you want to talk to some of these guys, because I'm just clowning around here, really. But it's fantastic, you know. I'm really trying to encourage my friend up the road, Lato, because I'm worried, you know, she does a lot of magic and a lot of spiritual stuff, and I feel that she's very isolated. She has kind of started a YouTube, well, she's got a YouTube sort of ID, but she never joins chats and stuff, but yet she complains about lonely. Hey, Zamosis, so nice to see you, man. This is great. I'm so glad I came on tonight. In fact, today has restored my faith in YouTube, because I really, for a while, I thought, oh God, it's all ego. I'm just this chattering monkey. You know, that was one of the main things that came through in that trip, was no matter how smart you are, you're still a monkey throwing basically language at the moon. But I want to get back to creative writing as well, like poetry and stuff. I was actually going to come on and read a bit of the great lost novel when I was I'm not ashamed to admit it because I'm over it now, but I was a pretty severe heroin addict for like 25 years, but I was always like, you know, I always kept a tiny bit of dignity, and I'd been writing a novel, and I'd written like thousands and thousands and thousands of words. And one day I just got so desperate, all I had left was the laptop with a novel on it. So I just swapped it for a tiny amount of heroin. And I'd only got little bits, little sections, which are on the WordPress blog. But when I read through it, it's kind of silly, kind of clumsy. I was going for a commercial success. So I'd been told if you put a swastika on the cover of any book, it sells. So I thought, okay, what am I interested in? magic and Nazis. How can I mix magic and Nazis? I know. I'll have an SS man deserting from the evil Third Reich, finding Aleister Crowley, who Himmler, now this is fictional, but who knows, you know, if you've read Morning of the Magicians and the Fourth Reich, you know that Anna Herb were very occult. So in the novel, I had this SS man, young guy, Walter Klug, coming to England to find Aleister Crowley, the Great Beast, because he's been sent by Himmler, because Himmler thinks that Crowley has prophesied the coming of Hitler and all that as the Aeon of Horus, you know? And there are, you must admit, there are some parallels. You know, there's like the, I mean, I've never subscribed to the Book of Law. I like Crowley, but I've never really considered the Book of Law a holy book. I think it's just a very, it's beautiful in parts. I like the Newt bits, or the Newt. I never know how to pronounce these things because you never hear. Anyway, I'm getting off the point. Right, 5 minutes. Ask me anything, and then I am going. Granted, I have not been in all the live streams because I've been really busy too. Yeah, we all have real jobs and we all have real lives. Lisa, I have to go soon too. Thank you so much for coming in, and thanks again for this crystal skull. Like I say, it's been, I'm sure it talks to me, you know. It's part of my, I've got the magic ring, which, isn't it beautiful? And I've got my magic necklace, and I've now added this eye thing and the crystal skull, and as long as I've got these, I'm good to go. Is that a moonstone? I don't even know what stone it is, but it's very chunky. I actually bought it off a shoplifter in Edinburgh for £10, but I bet it was a damn sight more expensive than that. Hello, Darcy. You know, Darcy, that night of the Halloween trip, I was up at my friend's house, and I went through, and I came on to Brandon's stream, and I was still kind of tripping, and it was too early, and I went into live chat, and I was still kind of out there. But Darcy, you just made me laugh and laugh and laugh. You're so funny. So thank you for that, and thank you everyone. Yeah, I don't know. It's blue and it kind of seems to change colour. Yeah, I would. Yeah, so guys, please, Araranach androgenines is a genius. Labradorite, I think that's what it is actually, BB. I think that's what it is, Labradorite. Yep, BB got it. Darcy, is that a picture of that girl from Twin Peaks, Darcy? Blue Labradorite, yeah, I think it is. Yeah, Sunday Night Chill, definitely a brilliant channel, like a thing. And subscribe, if you're not subscribed to Araranach Androgenines, subscribe, because he's a very, very brilliant, lovely man. Often find myself, yeah, I'm not quick enough on the phone. Hey Oswald, I've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. But yeah, just to sum up, I've just done a 4-hour interview with the legendary Taiesin McKnight and the awesome Theophilos Peleus. We talked about Renaissance magic and many other things, and it'll be very interesting to see how the edit comes out. I didn't say a whole lot. My interviewing style is just to let my guests speak. And I just kind of keep myself out of the way. I'm just a student of these guys, you know. I don't claim to any great knowledge. But I do have a lot of love. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I've absolutely had a ball today. It'll be on my channel, Oswald, and it might be on Theophilos's and possibly even Taisin's, but I'll get it, and it'll be on mine. So watch it on mine. I need all the views I can get. Thank you, Prospero. Right, so just everyone say good night so I can say good night to you. So thank you. In fact, where's my gong? Let's not drop traditions totally. Thank you, Theophilos, Logos of Ophiel. Thank you, BB Blog. Thank you, Nish. Thank you, I Walker. Hey, Robert Elder. Thank you. Thank you, Occult Journey. Thank you, Darcy. Thank you, David Lux, although you've gone. Yeah, I can't wait either. Okay, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Araranach, Davey, expanding the process. Thank you, Prospero. Love and light to all. Kisses, hugs. Yes, delirium. I hope it's better than sky view, because like I say, it just doesn't line up with the real sky. And I haven't got time to be drawing natal charts for every working I do. But yeah, I'm gonna pursue this Solomonic thing further, and I will report my progress, because it's, you know, I have to say, a bit the Golden Dawn effective, but a little bit dull. A little bit dull. Okay, with that, thank you very much, guys. It's always an absolute pleasure, and I'll see you again very soon. Thank you. Good night, y'all. Good night, everybody. Thank you.